Here we have homemade vegetable soup served two ways, both with chicken, but one is pureed and one is not. And this is made with garden fresh vegetables and rotisserie chicken. So this is what happens when you go a little crazy at the farmer's market. We've got fresh carrots here, massive amount of celery, new potatoes, and beans, both green and yellow. So what I'm going to do is make soup. Now, first thing I did, I bought a rotisserie chicken, and I took off the breasts and the legs of that, and that meat I will actually use for the soup later on, and also some other things. I wasn't too picky about taking the meat off of this. I left some meat on there just for flavor for the stock. So the first step is to get the stock going, and that'll give me time to clean all this other stuff. So what I've done, I've just cleaned one stalk of celery and one carrot. That's going to go into the stock pot. I'm going to leave the greenery on there along with the chicken, and I will cover that with water and let that simmer for about an hour. Then I'll do the prep on all this other stuff, and we'll take it from there. So you can see we've got the chicken in here along with the celery and carrots. Now you can also throw some peppercorns, whatever you want, in there as well. I'm going to bring that up to a simmer, put a lid on it, and just let it cook for about an hour. And I'll prep the other vegetables, and then we'll throw it together. These potatoes are thin-skinned, so I'm just going to scrub them rather than peel them. You see here all the dirt needs to be cleaned out. Okay, prep is done. Just to give you a sense of scale, this is all the vegetables I'm not using because I wanted to balance out the soup. So here it's about a cup of chopped carrots, a little more than a cup of the potato, a cup of the beans, and about quarter to a third of a cup of the celery, chopped super fine, because the celery is fairly strong. I don't want to overpower the soup. And then here I've got 2 garlic cloves and 3 shallots that have been chopped. So you could also use onion, probably half an onion if you wanted to. And also to the soup I'm going to add this small can of fire roasted tomatoes. If I had picked up some tomatoes at the market I would have thrown those in, but I didn't. So now the stock's been simmering for about an hour, so we'll strain it out. We'll see how much we get. So on this bowl, that is 1.5 liters of stock, so about 6 cups. So I'm using the same pot. We'll get that going, sort of on moderate heat, and I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of olive oil. We'll let that warm up a little bit. Now we will add the aromatics. I've added the shallots and the garlic together because the shallots don't take very long. If I was using an onion, I'd add the onion first and let that get a little bit translucent, then add the garlic for about 30 seconds. Okay, after about 2 minutes, I'm going to add the veggies, and we'll sweat these a little bit. Okay, this has been sweating out just for about 5 minutes. It's got some nice bright color to it. So I'm now going to add back the stock. And I'm going to add the can of tomato juice. Now you'll notice I haven't added any salt to this at all during this process because the rotisserie chicken is pretty salty, and there is 300 milligrams of sodium in the tomatoes as well. So I will season it, but I was just going to wait closer till the end of the process. I've got 3 small bay leaves that I'm going to add to this as well. Now I'm going to bring that to a simmer and let the vegetables cook. So the soup's been simmering for half an hour. I just checked, and the potatoes and carrots are fork tender but not falling apart. So now it's just a matter of seasoning, because there's not really any seasoning in here, and give it a shot. It's actually surprisingly seasoned, and again, that is because of the salt content of the rotisserie chicken. If you're doing this with chicken you roasted yourself, it probably would not be as seasoned, but I'm going to add about half a teaspoon of salt and some fresh ground pepper. This is black pepper. Give that a taste. You can also season this with a little bit of soy sauce or Worcester sauce, or even fish sauce if you want to give it a bit of umami. But given the vegetables are so fresh, I don't really think that it needs it. I don't want to overdo it. Good, just going to add a little bit more salt. Actually, maybe I will add some white pepper too, just to give it a bit more kick. White pepper is stronger than black pepper. Okay, we are now ready to plate. Now I'm going to show two options for plating this soup. The first one, I'm going to basically puree it and serve it as a pureed soup. So we want to make sure that there's no bay leaves in this. So that's about a cup of soup. We'll just use our immersion blender here. Okay, so what I have here is some of the shredded chicken. This is from the rotisserie chicken. So as I mentioned, took the breast off, and I'll use that for chicken in recipes. So this is shredded breast meat. And basically, I'll take this soup, throw it in, we'll give it a stir. And the reason I kept the chicken out and not cooking it with the soup is I just want the most flexibility. And I also don't want to overcook the chicken. Now for this one, I'm going to drizzle just a little bit of chili crisp on it. So this just to give it a little bit of kick. A little bit of oil. And a little bit of dried parsley. So there is the pureed soup. And the second one is just going to be straight up. And we'll give this one a little bit of a stir to incorporate the chicken. And the soup is so hot that the chicken is shredded, so although the chicken came from the fridge, it'll be fine temperature-wise. And for this one, we will also add a little bit of dried parsley on here. Maybe a little bit more black pepper here. So there you have it, two different servings, making use of the same soup and good use of a rotisserie chicken and garden fresh vegetables. So hope you give it a try. Thanks a lot.